Hello, it's a bright and sunny Saturday afternoon, but rather than heading to the pub or to the beach, be sensible, join us for episode 4 of Hanna and Eastwood Get Real. And welcome to a particularly serious episode this week, where I share my story. Things might get a little bit heated in the middle, and then we both share experiences of lockdown. So please pull up a pew, if you would. Grab a beer, grab some snacks, and settle down.
I think Sam's been on the drink, so sorry about his inability to speak the English language. So today's theme is obviously mental health, and in a minute Sam's going to give his account. I haven't personally experienced mental health problems, thankfully, but I've been witness to friends of mine at uni who, obviously, I won't mention, but I won't mention any names because they had some significant problems. And I was living in the same house as them, so I got a first-hand account of the sort of mental health problems that people go through at university. So I'll be going into that a little bit. So I think without further ado, I will hand over to Sam to give his account.
Thank you. So this is quite a deep story. So if you feel like this is relating to you, or if you're going through stuff, want to chat, our Facebook page inbox is always open, or you can, if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you can always just.
Or a friend of mine, I do have friends.
Well, they can talk to you. So since I was little, I had always been what you could call socially anxious. I wouldn't go about making new friends by going up to them and speaking to them. I would wait for them to come to me. So going through school, a lot of the work I did alone. And that went through all the way through secondary school and sixth form. Just because I don't know what caused me to be socially anxious. It just happened. And it carried on when I started university. If it wasn't for an unfortunate incident with the toaster, where I did need some help, and more information on that in episode 3.
Who wouldn't, after nearly blowing up a flat, you know?
I felt I was forced to face the social anxiety head first and conquer my fears and speak to Harry to get the help I needed. And as the year and a half went on that I was at Falmouth University, my social anxiety seemed to drop more and more. So I was able to confront people. I was able to go out on nights out with people, just have a great laugh with people. And then in the November of 2017, my walls came crashing down. I had a horrible experience with a landlady who eventually threw me out, leaving me to move back to Plymouth. And I had been having trouble with course mates and the course, and I felt the only option was to leave university. I thought it would be easy leaving university. I thought leaving university, everything would just fall back into place as it was before I left university. Little did I know I was very wrong. And Harry and I did 2 shows in 2018 together. And at that point, I was, especially the second one, I think I was in a very dark place, and just feeling very alone, feeling like a failure, disappointment. And I think my grandparents had mentioned those words to me when they found out that I had left university. And that was crushing to hear family members label you as a disappointment, and a failure. So I turned.
Right, hopefully, Sam will be back in a minute. He's obviously frozen here.
Oh,
Sorry, you may have to repeat what you just said because I lost connection. It says your internet connection is unstable. Whether that's mine or yours, I don't know, but I can see you now. So if you just pick up where you left off.
where did we get to?
I don't really know. You were mid-sentence, so just carry on with your story.
So in the April of 2018, I was in a pretty dark place. My grandparents had labelled me a failure, and disappointment, which obviously for anybody isn't nice. And I turned to drink, which always seems the easiest option, not the cheapest option. And I was spending a lot of time up in my room, especially of an evening, just drinking. And if it wasn't for this wonderful man next to me, I think I recall he messaged me saying, "Oh, what are you up?" I think we were just chatting generally. He said, "Oh, what are you up to tonight?" And I said, "Drinking as per usual."
And as I said, so am I, but because that's what I usually do on most nights. But in moderation, you were drinking quite heavily, weren't you?
And I remember you saying, "Mate, you need to calm down a bit. Drinking a bit too much." And I remember breaking down at that point, to my mum, saying, "I'm a failure. I'm a disappointment. I'm unemployed. I've got nothing going for me at the moment. What do I do now?" And I said to you quite publicly, and you said in the episode last week that when we did our shows together, and when I did my solo shows, last year and the year before, I was always putting on a personality, like a character. I was always Sam Hanna the character rather than Sam Hanna the person. Mainly because I liked being the outgoing person that I was on stage. I liked having banter with people. I liked clicking with people and just playing off of an audience. And when the curtains came down, it was right. Return to normal life. Return to that person that the person that I don't really want to be. And we wrote a show for January, and I was going to announce how I had felt and how the shows had panned out before doing a Victoria Wood song, and I decided to scrap it completely because I didn't want to show my feelings. Because all of my shows are very comical. I sit down at the piano, I play stupid stuff, I have a laugh, and then I go home. I felt if I announced this publicly, there would be no way of recovering the audience. That there would be no song to recover the audience. So I scrapped it. and hopefully when a show comes along sooner rather than later, it can be touched on, because the the subject matter for today is it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. It's really easy. If someone asks you, "Are you all right?" It's very easy to say yes.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to say, "I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. I'm absolutely fine. Life is good." But actually, you need somebody to say,
Yeah.
"Sam, I know you're not okay.
Yeah.
What's the problem?" Um, and you've been able to do that for me, and my family, since leaving uni, have realised when I'm not okay, and
Yeah.
what it needs for me to sort of open up. But now during lockdown, I seem to be more confident than ever. My opinions are raising day in, day out, and at the
Rising
moment,
like a fire.
rising like a fire. And at the moment, my life does. At the moment, I am unemployed, but I'm looking for work. I'm happy. Um, so what more can I say? But if you do feel like any of that spoke to you, and or you're going through the same thing, feel free to give me a message or Harry a message.
I seem to be the counsellor here, so if you want some advice, then you can always try me. I didn't realise I was a bit of a counsellor, but if you just need to speak to someone, that's, I think, the key message, isn't it? You need to hear it from someone else to realise that you need help, or that you need to realise the situation you're in, and that you need to work on improving your mentality. So
So for our songs of the week this week,
yeah.
I have chosen two songs. One of which is in my repertoire at the moment. The other is a cult classic. So I'll go with the one from my repertoire first to keep Harry sitting
I'm
on the edge of
intrigued.
his seat. So as a firm, fascinating Aida fan, it would be foolish not to mention this song. And Dilly wrote this as one of the first ever fascinating Aida songs. And it has lived all this time, and I know for the majority of their shows, they always used to close with this song. And it's called "So On a Sequin." I've performed it many times, and it basically says, if life's a bit rubbish, pick up your old shabby dress,
Like you do on a daily
I,
basis.
which I do have. I won't put it on show now.
I'm sure the viewers are crying out.
Um, but pick up that old shabby dress, pick yourself up off the ground, brush yourself off, just be a stronger person.
Yeah.
And that is an anthem for everybody across the world, whether gay, straight, fat, thin, black, white, going through tough times, going through good times. And my second song is an absolute classic by Elton John, which I feel reflects how far I've come, which is "I'm Still Standing."
Very good.
Because I've had all of this stuff coming my way to knock me down. Sometimes it's been successful, like when I left uni. I describe that as hitting rock bottom. And then you sort of have to, you hit the rock bottom of the sea and you have to swim back up again, and it's a long way up from the bottom. But I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. I am still standing. I've gone through drink. I've gone through money problems. I've gone through a horrible time with accepting myself. I'm still here. Better than
That's the important thing.
I'm still standing better than I ever did, looking like a survivor.
Very good. Absolute tune as well. But yeah, it really does reflect it perfectly. So is that sort of where you're finishing up, or?
That is exactly where I'm finishing up.
Before we go to our middle section where we'll discuss current affairs, I'm just going to briefly touch on my experience of seeing others with mental health problems. Obviously, university is a big change for everyone, and a lot of people go through mental health problems whilst being at uni. And in third year, when I was in third year, I was living in a house with two couples. So I am a professional fifth wheeler. So, and one of the couples, unfortunately, it turned out that they were having a bit of a toxic relationship, and one of them had decided to end it in just before we went back for third year. And we were living in the same house, and they were living in the same house. So obviously it was quite an explosive breakup. And both of them were living in the same house, which is just a nightmare, because they're the last person that they want to see, the other part of the relationship, the other half of the relationship. That's the last person they need to see at this particular point. So they were trying to do their best avoiding each other. But then they started rubbing things in their faces, like one of them joined Tinder within a few days, and went out on nights out and brought boys back to our house in order to try and rub it in the face of the other person. And they both went through a really tough time, to the point where one of them went home early at the end of the first term because they were really struggling. And I think they just felt completely helpless, really, because they couldn't escape the other person. But I think now that they've left uni and stuff, they've gone their separate ways. And I think both of them have had sort of counselling sessions and stuff. And as I say, speaking to someone always helps. And during the worst of it, both of them were sort of speaking to me, about their issues and stuff. And I was trying to do my best to reassure them, like the good counsellor that I am. Whether it helped, I'm hoping that it helped. But as I say, they're now both doing fine as far as I'm aware. They put it behind them. But it was a very toxic time. And it made me, for a while, be glad to be single, because I could see how a relationship can really end badly, and leave you in a real state, really. And I didn't have any of that throughout uni. So I saw really the worst side of relationships and what it can do to people. But as I say, both of them got all of the help that they needed to get. And I think they both knew, really, that they were both affected badly mentally. So yeah, it's good that they've put it behind them now, and it helps when they're not living in the same house now, so they can just sort of forget that person and forget that it happened and move on. And that's what they managed to do. And I saw one of them just this week, actually, and she's doing really well. Seems in very good spirits, and so there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there are success stories. You know, it's not all doesn't always end badly. If you speak to someone, you can work to achieve what you think is the impossible, and make a full recovery. And yeah, so that's my little story for today. I'm lucky enough to not have been affected so far by mental health. I'm pretty sure at some point in their lives everyone will go through a phase of it. But I'm just thankful at the moment that I've always got a very positive attitude, and you don't know when it's going to come along, so you just have to be prepared for it, really. So yeah, that's my little anecdote.
So now we move on to our current affairs section, and if you would like to join us in going back in time to the first episode where we touched on such a huge topic at the time. I'm laughing because I know what's coming from Harry now. We touched on Black Lives Matter. And I remember we spoke quite highly of it. And we showed our support for it. And now, 4 weeks later,
we are highly of the opposing opinion.
Let's see how our opinions stand.
I think the problem is that we made the mistake initially that everyone has made, and that we've sort of seen the initial headline or the initial, we saw the George Floyd video and everyone was horrified by it, and then a lot of people haven't read beyond that, whereas we have been delving into what people are posting and what Black Lives Matter is, and then when it was developing into all of the riots and vandalism and then all of this censoring crap, then it becomes almost impossible to support, in my opinion.
So I spoke to a lovely gentleman who is regarded as a celebrity on Wednesday, and he is a YouTuber, journalist, extraordinaire, very highly opinionated, but willing to hear all sides of debate. And Harry showed some videos to me of his, and I think he's absolutely brilliant, as does Harry, and as do my parents, and I believe your parents.
No, I've shown a few videos, just recently, He speaks common sense, and that's what everyone is after, well, not everyone, but a lot of people. I remember when I first came across him, it was during Black Lives Matter. His name is Alex Belfield, by the way. And I came across him during Black Lives Matter because I was feeling very strongly about all of the riots and stuff and the statues and tearing down all of history, basically. And I just happened to come across his video and I listened to it and I thought, wow, he has the same opinion as me. So I thought, it's not because I felt like, particularly within my generation, that I was sort of alone in my opinions about Black Lives Matter.
Apart from me.
Apart from you. And a few of my uni friends, actually, they were on side as well. But it just seemed to me that all of the stuff most of the stuff you were seeing on social media, pretty much all of it, was totally in support of what was happening. And it's just turned into an absolute farce. And I don't know what's happened to 2020 and what's happening with the world, but it is going to pop. It's as simple as that.
So as I was saying so movingly before Harry got riled up, so I found Harry encouraged me to phone in because he does a live sort of phone-in show on a Wednesday and Saturday. So Wednesday night, Harry encouraged me to phone in. So at 9 o'clock exactly, I phone in, and I was line number 1, and I was surprised to get through, as Harry knows, because he's heard it. And we had a lovely conversation. And I thanked him for helping me to see the light on the whole Black Lives Matter situation. And he asked me, what do I think Black Lives Matter is? Which is a really tough question when you're put on the spot. Obviously, no planned questions. I just phoned up to say thank you. I said,
Yeah.
I just want to keep it short. Thank you. And hoped he said, right, let's move on. But we got into
You got an interrogation.
I was interrogated. And he said, what do you think Black Lives Matter is? And my answer is very simple. It is what it is now what it wasn't at the start, if you understand my drift. Because at the start, everybody's seen the George Floyd video. Everybody knows the situation, and what this was supposed to do was unite everybody, and it should have been where white people and black people and Asian people and everyone of an ethnic minority join together and say, we support you in Everest. We support you as people. And now it's turned into a highly left-wing fascist movement.
Yes.
And it's something that I regret ever being a part of. As a performer, back when it was popular, I did Blackout Tuesday to show my solidarity.
It's what everyone has done, jumping on the bandwagon, thinking you're doing something right, before you actually read into what the hardcore facts are. And they sort of emerged, didn't they, as the weeks went on?
And as I said, I've seen the light. I am fully aware of what is going on now. And it's a horrible thing that's going on. People shouldn't be ripping down statues. People shouldn't be graffitiing or harassing the cenotaph. People shouldn't be eradicating history just because it involves slaves. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you have the right to eradicate it.
Exactly.
If history isn't there, how do we learn from it? So I've lost my train of thought now.
It's kind of what happened to me earlier.
But I was ashamed to be associated with it. We donated some money to Black Lives Matter, as in the charity, or the organisation, and we have both said to each other that we regret donating that particular charity. And we've donated to various things since then, which we are more than happy donating to. But when you've got what white people, especially our generation, need to understand, because they're obviously so
blinded,
not here completely, is that when black people say that they don't agree with Black Lives Matter, or that they don't agree with police being stopped, or that they don't agree with what is happening to history, or that Little Britain, or what has happened to Little Britain in comedies, when black people don't agree to any of that stuff, that's a statement. and it
Yeah,
sticks out like a sore thumb, and it makes everybody who isn't black, so who is supporting that statement, look completely stupid.
absolutely. And it's just this general assumption that's going on at the moment that all these black people are wholly behind Black Lives Matter, and they think that the police are racist, and the BAME communities think that the police are racist and unfairly treat the BAME community. And it's just simply not true. The stuff that is being shared on social media is all of the same opinion. There are rare interviews where you see another side to it, and I watched one this morning from Talk Radio. I think they did it yesterday, actually, and they had a guest on, Esther Kraku, I believe her name was. I wrote it down, and she's a political commentator, and she's black. And they were talking about the hit and run, not hit and run, the although that may have happened, I don't know, the stop and search incident. And she was basically saying that she thought it was ridiculous that Cressida Dick, who is the head of the police, said that there was nothing, the police didn't do anything wrong by stopping them, but then apologized. So this shows that the police are feeling they have to apologize in case they're branded racist. So we've now got a situation where the police are scared to do their job
And not allowed to do their job.
and therefore can't do their job. And this black woman was saying that it's ridiculous, and that, you know, it highlights the fact that not all black people are supporting what's going on at the moment. And this thing with the police is crazy, because it's if you're rendering, which they are doing now, they are rendering the police useless, because they are going to let, you know, some people that are of BAME slip under the net if they've committed crime. We've got to get away from this idea that all black people are somehow saints and don't commit crime. It's the same as white people. Some white people are good, some white people commit crime. You can't let, some black people will be in the wrong. And the fact that they're going to let them slip through the net means there's basically no law and order anymore. And you're one step closer to defunding the police, which we know is a founding principle of Black Lives Matter. And I'm telling you now, if we do not have a police force in this country, then this country is finished, because there would just be carnage. There'll be nothing to stop anyone from committing crime. You can only imagine the carnage, and people are supporting this. And I can't get to grips with this, that people are supporting an organisation that is wanting to bring down our police, and that they can seriously think that this country can function without a police force. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
And what I feel is, especially of our generation, the white people who are supporting Black Lives Matter and saying that they stand in solidarity with black people and are speaking as if they are black within, have never, as far as I'm aware, they can correct me if I'm wrong, I've never been oppressed. I've never been disregarded because of the colour of their skin. They've never been thought of less because of the colour of their skin. They've never been spoken to differently because of the colour of their skin. So
it's all propaganda.
Please think again before saying that you support Black Lives Matter, because you don't have the first clue about what you're supporting.
And I've got to say, can people please, as you were saying, have a think seriously and have a sensible conversation about what you're sharing and endorsing on Facebook and Twitter and whatever. because this is extremely dangerous now, when we're now, you know, giving the police a bad reputation, which is it's just simply not true.
And we have both been branded racists because
we are criticizing the way that the movement is being carried out.
We have said that we don't agree with Black Lives Matter.
But of course we agree with racial equality. You know, that's what I thought this was supposed to be about. And actually they're starting to, well, they're definitely identifying racism when it isn't there. So they're actually encouraging racism because they're finding it where it isn't there. And then they share it on social media and people go, oh, that's racist. So it's just fueling the fire.
As I've said before, you've never been thought of any differently because of the colour of your skin. You've not been spoken to differently because of the colour of your skin. You're not looked down upon because of the colour of your skin. So please, please, please have a think before you put anything on social media, because the consequences.
Far too many people are not thinking.
It's very easy to share something very quickly on social media.
You see a headline and you go, bang, share that.
Without reading an article or without reading the full story or seeing the full picture. Please think about what you are posting, because the consequences could be absolutely horrific for not only you, but for your family.
Absolutely. One more thing I wanted to just discuss was another talk radio interview where they were talking about, apparently some schools are thinking about introducing unconscious bias training for kids. So did I send you that?
You did.
I did, yeah. So basically they're making the assumption that you're automatically born racist. That's the assumption. And that they are trying to train you not to be racist. So by doing that, I mean, kids won't be able to contemplate this anyway. All they will see is that, oh, black people are different. That's what they'll take out of it, that black people need to be treated differently. And that's an own goal as far as I'm concerned, because the whole point of this is that black people should be equal and colour shouldn't be a problem. So they're creating a problem here. And to bring kids into it is disgusting. I'm sorry, but it is. And
as Alex Belfield says, I'm going to bed. Wake me up when this is all over.
I mean, it is a fair point to say that, I mean, personally for me, obviously coronavirus is still a very pressing issue. It's still a threat. The R rate is going up again. We're probably going to see a second peak. But some of the things that are happening in the world, in society at the moment, I think are as much of a threat, because hopefully at some point coronavirus is going to go away, right? Hopefully it'll burn out, or they'll find a vaccine or something. But these issues are escalating at an alarming rate. The police are now buckling under the pressure behind this agenda of that there's, that the police are racist. So they're now buckling under that pressure and are apologizing because it was a person of color that they stopped. So I think, and these issues could be long lasting and are only going to get worse as far as I can see, unless people wake up and actually start having some sensible conversations about what's happening. That's my opinion.
I feel I'm lost for words. The world that we live in, as Monty Python says, the world today seems absolutely crackers. And it really is.
You couldn't write it. You could not write a book about this.
You could not make it up.
No.
And can I just say, for the record, Alex Belfield as we were just saying, a great celebrity journalist who does lives on YouTube.
He doesn't have a job now. He just does this from his house, but his YouTube channel is growing astronomically, so he doesn't need a job. And he's doing it because he wants to hear real people's opinions, which is what you don't get in the media.
He was sacked by the BBC for
having an
voicing
opinion.
voicing his own opinion. He was beat up by the BBC for voicing his own opinion. And recently, he has been arrested twice.
Well, it was attempted. It was an attempted arrest. He was never actually arrested.
An attempted arrest by the BBC for voicing his own opinion. If we can't have an honest debate without arguing, without getting stroppy,
it's human. It's human nature to have an opinion. You can't help but develop an opinion on something, and to have that shut down because you're too scared to go up against this whole. It seems to be that everyone thinks in this one line at the moment, and it's just scary that you're no longer allowed to broadcast your opinion. But I mean, we could talk about this all day, but
I fear that we have run out of time before we make this episode run too long.
Well, we didn't start till 15:15. We can probably touch on what we did in lockdown and how we kept, because I think we started at gone like 20 past or something. So.
I'll let you speak. I'll shut up.
Well, no, I was only going to say, obviously lockdown has been difficult for everyone because it's an unforeseen circumstance that no one ever expected to happen. It's like it's out of a book, or it's a film, or like a film, you know. And some people have really struggled, particularly those living alone and stuff. I'm lucky to have been living with my parents, so I've had some social interaction. And I know that a lot of people have struggled a lot during lockdown. Excuse me. And I've just gone into it with the mentality that this is spare time at home that I will never get again and that I wouldn't normally get. So I just thought from the start, I'm going to make the most of this and use my time as productively as possible. And then with the help of like Zoom meetings and house party and things, I've been able to keep in contact with friends. It's not the same, obviously, as meeting up in person, but it's kept me going. You know, I'm still in contact with people, and it's just been some nice downtime personally. I've quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it when the world just stopped for a bit and nature just came out and really sort of came alive as such. You could see that nature was enjoying the break from the destruction that humans are doing to the planet. But it was just a surreal time. But I managed to fill it. You know, I spent a lot of time going on walks that I wouldn't normally do for my daily exercise. Spent a lot of time in the garden. I put a lot of time down to piano playing because
you can now play Mary. You can now play Mary Had a Little Lamb, can't you?
I can, yeah. It took 6 weeks to learn that with one finger, you know, doing melody. But yes, it was, as I say, before lockdown, I didn't really have any time to do things like that. So I was able to really, you know, knuckle down and learn some new pieces that I hadn't had time to do, basically. And I've just enjoyed it as much as it, you know, it's getting to the point now where I think everyone sort of wants life to return to normal, but in order to keep me going through lockdown, I was just trying to enjoy it as much as possible. And I think that's the mentality that you've got to have. I know it's difficult, but I don't know about you, but do you want to briefly sum up lockdown?
I think I'm exactly the same. The only difference is where you've been working and I haven't. Looking for work has come to a standstill, and all of the work that is available, everybody is going for. because everybody is out of work. But I've been passing time doing live Facebook concerts. I've raised over £300 shared between the Plymouth Food Bank, which has been helping Plymouth families who have been on furlough or who have been made redundant and have no money. So that's been really good. And the other half went to the NHS, which obviously did great things during lockdown. They handled the COVID situation a lot better than our government did. And that's a statement, surely.
They still struggle
yeah,
though with the lack of PPE and all of that, but amazingly that they, managed to cope, and we all owe them a lot, basically.
but I'm very grateful for the time that I've had to reflect on where I am in my life. I'm now 22. Am I where I wanted to be? Back when I was at school, I was asked, where do you want to be when you leave school? I'm not in that place yet. And I use the word yet because I'm still young. There is plenty of time for me yet.
Yeah.
You don't get rid of Sam the Hangover Hanna that easily.
Any more comments about lockdown for you? Or
I've said it all. I am all talked out.
Yeah, I think we all need to lie down now after that.
And a long sleep.
Oh yeah, well I've been having I had a long sleep last night after my week of surveying again.
One thing I will say, and I've not mentioned this to Harry, he can join me in solidarity if he really wants to. Because mental health is such a big situation for me, it's something I've struggled with, and it's not something Harry struggled with so much. I will send Harry a link put in the description. I am going to be donating some money. I don't know what funds. I have no idea what funds allow anymore. I've given up looking. Some moths just fly out of my wallet. But I will be donating some money to the suicide awareness hotline. Because especially during lockdown, they've probably been working double time, and it's not a nice situation for anybody to be in. Luckily, I've never been in that situation. I've never been in that mindset that I just want to end it all. But I've been in a very dark place, and it's not a nice place to be in, and I wouldn't wish it on the worst person that I like, or the worst person in the world, being Boris Johnson.
Oh. Claws are out. Batten down the hatches. No, Sam is revealing all.
A live exclusive on Hanna and Eastwood Get Real.
Hates Boris Johnson. Don't we all at the moment, though? Let's be honest.
But yes, I will be donating later this evening. So if Harry would like to join, then he's more than welcome. But we will be putting the link in all the descriptions across Facebook, across YouTube. I am creating a SoundCloud account so that you can listen to us on the go.
You might prefer just to listen to us rather than have to look upon our faces.
Yeah, how do you think I have to feel looking at you?
I know. Well, at least the last few weeks, my hair's been so long I couldn't see you. But now I can. So it's been a bit of a shock.
And I do have to apologise for my hypocrisy for last week. I stated I wouldn't get my hair cut for a very long time because I was happy the way it was. And then the
Yeah,
following
but
day,
you also said that you were happy to have it done at home. So
yeah, I said I was happy for it to be done at home, but I also said it probably wouldn't happen for a while because I was quite happy the way it was. And then the following day, it was off.
well, I quite like the idea of being able to see. So I just sort of, as much as I didn't particularly want to, to put myself at risk. I mean, hairdressers, for example, are safer than pubs just because of the regulations. So obviously, I was wearing a mask. The barbers were wearing full visors.
Is this sign
so,
language?
No, I'm just doing because the
You
full
sign
visors come right
visor.
down like that, cover the entire face. So I felt quite safe, and they sanitize in between people. So it was something that I had to do. But I haven't been to the pub yet. I know most people have. So I do believe that the pub's too risky at the moment. So it's about judging whether it's safe or not. And I felt that the hairdressers, they were putting in the right regulations, and it was something that I just had to get done because I couldn't stand it anymore. My hair was just getting in the way.
So this is the end of another epic episode of Hanna and Eastwood Get Real. I've been Sam Hanna. He's been Eastwood, or Harry
Eastwood.
Um,
Felt like James Bond for a moment there.
Eastwood.
Harry Eastwood.
As always, if you have an opinion, please don't be afraid to share it. If you fancy a chat, feel free to comment down below, comment above, wherever. Comment wherever. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscription, we will include links for the videos from Talk Radio, and also the link for the donations. We are honestly so thankful for everybody who is watching. We started out 2 people, and we are honestly just so happy with how it's growing.
Yeah. Please click the subscribe button as well, and please look out for, we're starting to make some shorter clips as well from the entire podcast, so you don't have to waste an hour of your life to hear some particular parts that you want to hear. We will be making shorter clips. There's a couple on the YouTube page now, and on the Facebook page, about Black Lives Matter, and about the easing of the lockdown measures. And I'm sure there'll be some clips coming from this as well. So yeah, please enjoy, and I guess we'll be back similar time next week. We may even be in person next week because
we may even be together.
We may do a live in the same vicinity, 1 meter plus, of course. But yeah, hopefully see you all next week.
See you next week. Thank you.